Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Andy.
and we've just finished playing The City of Kings, which is a cooperative adventure game. You can see the bunch of different standees here representing the different heroes, and we were kind of gradually going out exploring this map. You can see some of these tiles are turned face down. You can kind of move onto it and you reveal it to explore the map. And these standees represent baddies that were showing up. But on your turn, you have this character sheet here, which looks very complicated, but it's not too bad. Essentially, you have a bunch of different stats. So you've got health, how much attack you do, how much heal you do, how far you can move, things like this. And importantly, you also have workers, which are these little tokens here that move around the map and kind of help you out in various ways. And they have some stats too, so how far they can move, how many resources they can gather and things like that. Little storage spaces for the resources that they do gather. But the way you play the game is you're taking action. So you have 4 of these on your turn if I remove them, and you kind of choose how to spend them. So this is my main character, so I could spend an action to move. And so I check, oh, my move rate is 2, so I could take my standee and move it to spaces somewhere. But you notice there's not another move one, so I can't move again. I could explore, which would be revealing a map tile, you sort of plonk one there, or if I was next to one of the creatures, I could attack it, or I could do some healing. We played a 4-player game, and it was quite important for us to sort of specialise, so I kind of specialised in healing, so I went around healing people while they did the fighting. You can interact, perhaps if I just explain a few of the different kinds of tiles you can get. Some tiles, like this one, will just generate a creature, some kind of monster for you to fight when it appears. Some of them give you a quest. You draw from a large deck of quests, and each quest, there's some sort of thematic text, and there's usually a couple of options. So in this case, you could take 4 ore to the City of Kings, which is the kind of starting location at the bottom left of the board here, and you'll get some experience and an item card, or you can take 7 ore and get more item cards. So they give you some options, and you can collect resources and get stuff that way. There's a shop, I think. This one here you can see is a shop. Various item cards appear and you can spend resources. So for example, if you spend a wood here, you add this, which is going to increase your attack value, to your stat bar. This is a legs item, and you can add body or head items to increase your stats in various ways, which is nice. In terms of how the workers work, if you were to spend an action, that's how you move them, and when they're actually on a tile where they can work, so if I sent a worker to here, this one is generating ore, it's like a mine. Then you roll the blue dice, the gather dice, and depending on what you roll, you either get 3 of the appropriate resource, or 2 or 1, or you might attract attention. You can see there's attention markers appearing here. If too many of those appear, it generates another creature who you're going to have to fight. So that's how you're kind of gathering resources, but then the worker would have to move back to the City of Kings, and you deposit it on this track. So this tracks how many of the different kinds of resources we've got. So you can see we've got 6 ore, 6 fish, and you can spend those resources then, as I say, when you go shopping, to buy various items to improve your characters. You also can level up when you get XP. I should perhaps quickly explain how the fighting works. You draw a monster tile, and it has various special abilities, and you add a stat bar to it. And this is number 6, these get gradually harder as you go through the game, and it tells you how much health the monster's got, how many special abilities, whether it does any healing, how much damage it does, how far away, that kind of thing, and how much XP you do. Combat's very straightforward. On your turn, if you're within range, you just do whatever your attack value is to the creature and reduce its health. And when the creature activates, it does its damage to anyone in range. Potentially special abilities as well. You can see this one is spitting poison, which is going to do damage to us. Lightning bolt does a bit of extra damage. Tracking means it's moving around trying to find you. So there's some extra abilities you draw which are different each time for every monster. But if you kill a monster, you get experience. You can see there's a sort of corporate experience track here. Every time this moves up to a certain spot, you can increase one of your stats. So maybe your maximum health could go up by 1. Or you can potentially unlock these discs, and every character has this sort of special tree here, and you have to start placing them on the bottom. So this would increase my range if I put it on that one, then that increases my maximum health, and you can unlock various of the special abilities as well. So for example, when I heal, I could cure some poison. There's quite a lot of variability because each character has a different set of specials here in terms of how you upgrade, which is quite nice. It's scenario based, so we had to find and kill a certain number of monsters. In this particular case, it tells you how to set it up, and we failed miserably, but we had a good go. What do we think?
Yeah, I really liked it. I sort of quite like co-op games that aren't too alpha player, and this has got that because of the sort of random nature of exploring. Combat is quite good because it's deterministic. I did think that because there's a pool of dice, that dice might be used for combat, but no, it's just sort of like you just look at your weapon stat, your attack stat, look at the monster's defense, and do that much damage. It's quite straightforward, and you can also plan amongst you who's going to kill or how to kill a monster quite efficiently. It's also sort of you need to be very efficient. And I think sort of Jonathan mentioned sort of that we probably should have specialised in some of the areas, because I went sort of generalised a little bit across a few things. But yeah, as sort of say, first game, no idea sort of like quite what was coming up. So really liked it. Wasn't initially expecting to like it, but yeah, it's really good.
Mark?
I think Andy before this mentioned liking it to Mage Knight. I think that's probably its best comparison. It hasn't got the deck building of that, but I think it's got that exploring, questing, levelling up, and that sort of almost game feel to it. But also, as we mentioned, it's probably a better cooperative game than that, because your specialisation makes it more important. So you do need to be able to work up against each other, optimise your strategy. I think this is slightly more of an interactive puzzle than Mage Knight, but it's still got that questing and stuff feel to it. I think the most interesting thing about this also compared to that would be the fact that the variation scenarios will probably give it more replayability. There'll be more scope. Mage Knight is essentially, I know there are scenarios, but they're all relatively similar, while this has options to do far more. I mean, the tiles that we see on the board is just a small chunk of actually the full set, so there's a lot more options to do it. So all in all, pretty good. I think we'd do better on a second playthrough because I think we know what to do better.
Rating?
I'd give it a 7.5 based on the first play.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, likewise, about 7.5.
Okay. This is very much my kind of game. I really enjoyed it. I love the exploration as you're revealing the tiles. For this particular mission, somebody got a quest which needed linen. So we're like, oh, where's the tile that gives you linen? So we were running around desperately trying to find the tile that gave you linen. The monsters feel a little bit generic, but they have made an effort with the theme. There's quite a lot of flavour text in there, which is nice. And I like the way with the stat bars on the monsters that the monsters gradually increase in their difficulty. It is really tight. You've got to be very efficient, as Mark was saying, with your actions, or you are going to struggle as we did. It's the kind of thing I can see myself playing a lot with my son. There are tons of different scenarios. There's like a campaign, several different campaigns in fact, that you can play through. So really looking forward to playing that. I thought it was great. Big fan of this one. I'd be on an 8 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was The City of Kings.